When divorce hits, it feels like the ground disappears beneath you. It's like trying to walk again after sitting still for 30 years. Your legs are shaky. You fall. And you wonder if you'll ever stand again. But here's the truth. There is a path forward. And if you follow it, restarting your life after divorce is easier than you think. The reason I say this is because in those first weeks and months, it is so easy to believe you'll never feel normal again. You think the chaos will swallow you whole. But that's not true. There is a path forward. It is not easy. But it is far easier than staying stuck in bitterness or despair. That is what I want to show you today. A way to restart your life after divorce. A map you can actually follow. If you give me the next few minutes, I'll walk you through it step by step. And by the end, you will see that this moment is not the end of your life story. It is the beginning of your second life. Your life too. Lean. Now, when I was going through my own divorce, I remember the shock of losing something as basic as a place to live. We had been renting a small house, and suddenly I had to face the possibility that even that roof might vanish. For the first time in decades, I felt homeless in my own town. That was the moment I realized rebuilding starts at the very bottom of Maslow's pyramid. The basics: food, water, shelter, safety. These are things we take for granted when life is stable. But when divorce rips through your finances and your routines, even the basics can slip through your fingers. Maybe your ex asks you to leave the house. Maybe the bank accounts are frozen. Maybe you're paying lawyers more than you can afford. Suddenly, the question of where you'll sleep at night is real again. That's why the very first step in restarting your life is to secure a place to call your own. It doesn't have to be big or fancy. It doesn't have to impress anyone. It just has to be safe, affordable, and yours. If you have children, it has to be a place where they feel welcome, even if that means a pull-out couch in the living room for a while. What matters is that you plant a flag in the ground. This is my space. This is where my new life begins. I was lucky to have family close by. My sister lived only a few miles away. My mother was in the same town, and I had grown up in that area. So I had roots. People I could lean on in an emergency. But not every man has that. So the next part of rebuilding the base is to take inventory. Who do you have in your corner? Who could you call if everything collapsed tomorrow? A brother? A lifelong friend? A colleague who knows what you're going through? Write down those names. Keep them close. Because when the storm hits hardest, those people are the lifelines that keep you from drowning. And then, of course, there is money. Housing costs can crush you if you overreach. Divorce often feels like starting over at age 20. Except now, you're carrying obligations. Debts. Maybe alimony or child support. You cannot build a solid future if your housing costs are bleeding you dry every month. So make sure your new place fits your new reality. One bedroom might be enough. A modest apartment might be the smartest move. The goal is stability, not luxury. I remember staring at my budget late at night, realizing I had to choose between pride and survival. I could pretend nothing had changed. I rent something too expensive and drive a car I couldn't maintain. Or I could strip life down to the essentials, cut costs, and slowly rebuild. It hurt my pride, but it saved my sanity. Because once you stop chasing appearances, how you free up energy to focus on what really matters. This is what I want you to understand. Restarting your life after divorce is not about jumping straight into romance, or chasing distractions, or numbing the pain. It is about securing the ground under your feet. A roof, a budget that works, people you can call in the middle of the night. Think of it like building a house. You cannot put on the roof until the foundation is solid. And right now, your foundation is everything. Don't skip it. Don't rush it. Don't let your pride push you into bad decisions. Because once you have that foundation, the rest of the pyramid begins to open. You'll be able to think about health, about finances beyond survival, about friendships and belonging. But none of that can happen if you're sleeping on a friend's couch with no plan, or burning through credit cards you can't repay. So let me leave you with this for now. The first stage of life 2.0 is simple, but not easy. Secure your space. Protect your finances. Identify your lifelines. Do those things, and you'll be strong enough to take the next step. And trust me, there is a next step, one that leads to strength, to purpose, and eventually to joy again. Once the foundation is set, you'll notice something unexpected. The silence. The quiet that comes at night when you no longer hear another person moving in the house. The mornings when you wake up and there is no one to share coffee with. At first, that quiet feels like peace, but over time, it can turn into loneliness. And for many men, loneliness is the hardest part of starting over. I want to be brutally honest here. Loneliness after divorce can be deadly. It pushes men into depression, into bad habits, into addictions. It whispers in your ear that you are nothing without a partner, that you need another woman in your life right now or you will never be whole again. That voice is lying to you. I know because I listened to it once, and I nearly made one of the worst mistakes of my life. I thought if I could just find someone quickly, it would take away the ache. But what I didn't see was how vulnerable I really was. When you're wounded, you don't choose wisely. You choose desperately. And desperation almost always leads to regret. That's why I say this as clearly as I can. Do not run to another relationship just to fill the empty space. It is a trap. And the odds are stacked against you. You're not in your prime. Your confidence is shaky. And the likelihood of choosing someone who fits your long-term vision is almost zero. So, what do you do with that loneliness? The answer is both simple and difficult. You find belonging, not in romance, but in brotherhood, in friendship, in real community. I can't stress enough how healing it is to have other men around you who understand. When I finally stepped out of my shell and joined a small men's group, it changed everything. We met at a coffee shop once a week. No therapy, no lectures, just conversation. And in those conversations, I realized I wasn't alone. There were other men who had lost houses, lost custody battles, lost years of their lives. But they were still standing, and they were willing to stand beside me. If you don't have a group like that, create one. Invite 2 or 3 guys for lunch. Say out loud what you're going through. You'll be surprised how many of them nod and say, "Me too." Loneliness convinces you that you're unique in your pain. But the truth is, your story is more common than you think. And that means there are people waiting to connect with you, if you're willing to take the first step. Maybe that means showing up at a church, even if you're not sure what you believe. Maybe it means volunteering somewhere, just to be useful. Maybe it means joining a local club, a sports league, a hobby group. The place doesn't matter. What matters is that you extend your hand first. Because love and friendship cannot be taken. They can only be given. And when you give, you will find people ready to give back. I promise you this. The cure for loneliness is not scrolling social media at midnight. It is not watching television until your eyes close. It is walking out your front door and meeting life again. That's where belonging waits. That's where you heal. Now, once you've found a foothold in belonging, something inside you begins to stir. It's a question that won't leave you alone. What now? What do I do with the rest of my life? This is where the next stage begins. Reclaiming purpose. Divorce has a way of wiping the slate clean, whether you wanted it or not. And staring at that blank slate can be terrifying. But it can also be exhilarating, because now you get to ask, maybe for the first time in decades, what do I actually want my life to look like? I found a strange practice that helped me. Every night, before falling asleep, I would turn off the lights. I relax every muscle in my body and picture my future, not the details of how to get there, just the vision. How did I want to feel when I woke up 5 years from now? What kind of man did I want to become? Who did I want around me? What work did I want to be doing? The how didn't matter, only the what. Because when you get clear on what you want, the how has a way of showing up. Opportunities appear. Doors open. People cross your path at just the right time. It feels almost magical, but it's really just clarity at work. And let me tell you, having a mission is everything. When you wake up with a reason bigger than yourself, your self-esteem begins to rebuild. You stop defining yourself by what you lost. You start defining yourself by what you're creating. And that shift is powerful. For me, the mission became helping other men walk through what I had walked through. I didn't plan it that way. But once I started sharing my story, Men began reaching out. They said, "That's exactly what I'm going through." And little by little, my pain turned into purpose. It gave me a sense of accomplishment. It gave me dignity again. It reminded me that even in the rubble of divorce, I still had something to offer the world. Maybe your mission will look different. Maybe it's building a business you always dreamed of. Maybe it's mentoring young men who need guidance. Maybe it's traveling, creating, writing, or serving. The form doesn't matter. What matters is that you choose something that excites you, something that makes you look forward to tomorrow. Because here's the truth. Purpose is the fuel that drives recovery. Without it, you drift. With it, you rise. And when you rise, everything else begins to align: your health, your friendships, even your finances. Piece by piece, life starts to make sense again. So if you're in that place of wondering what comes next, take time tonight to dream. Not about fixing the past, not about winning back what you lost, but about building the life you want now. Picture it, feel it, let it become so real in your imagination that it pulls you forward like a magnet. That is the gift hidden inside the pain of divorce, the gift of a second chance, the chance to choose your own mission. And when you embrace that mission, you'll realize you are no longer just surviving. You are beginning to live again. When you've rebuilt the basics, when you've found belonging again, when you've chosen a purpose that lights a fire inside you, something remarkable begins to happen. You step into the zone. Athletes talk about it all the time. That state where time slows down, where every move feels natural, where you can see the field with perfect clarity. And for the first time since your marriage ended, you feel alive again. I remember the first time I noticed it. I was in the gym, running through a workout that used to leave me exhausted. But that day, my body felt strong. My mind was clear. The weights seemed lighter. The music felt better. It was as if everything around me lined up in perfect rhythm. And in that moment, I knew I had stepped into my new life. That's what self-actualization really means. It's not some lofty idea in a psychology textbook. It's the real, a lived experience of becoming the man you always wanted to be. It's waking up and realizing you're not just surviving anymore. You're thriving. You're growing. You're contributing. And the world is better because you are fully engaged in it. Now, let me be clear. This doesn't mean you won't face problems. Bills still come. Work can still be stressful. Life throws curveballs. But when you're in the zone, those challenges don't crush you anymore. They sharpen you. They test you. And you respond with strength instead of fear. This is also the stage where people start to notice. Your friends see it in the way you carry yourself. Your kids feel it in the way you show up for them. Even strangers sense it in the way you walk into a room. There's a calm confidence that wasn't there before. And that confidence attracts opportunities. If you want to start another relationship someday, this is the moment to do it. Not when you're wounded, not when you're desperate, but when you are whole. Because when you're whole, you attract people who are whole too. And that's the foundation of a healthy partnership. I can't tell you how many men rush back into dating too soon, and almost every time, it ends in more heartbreak. Sometimes another divorce. Don't fall for that trap. Wait until you are flying. Wait until you are in the zone. Because that's when your odds are best. That's when the right kind of partner notices you. And even if you choose to stay single, that's fine too. Because now, being single doesn't feel like failure. It feels like freedom. It feels like choice. Think about it this way. Life after divorce is like the fourth quarter of a game. You've taken hits. You've made mistakes. The scoreboard hasn't always gone your way. But now the ball is in your hands. And it's your drive that decides the ending. Will you crumble under pressure, or will you rise and make the play that changes everything? I believe you will rise. Because I've seen it. I've lived it. And I know the strength that lives inside men when they finally stop running from their pain and start building with it. So, let me close with this. Yes. Divorce is painful. Yes. It takes away things you thought you could never lose. But it also gives you something most men never get. A second chance. A reset button. A doorway into life too. Lean. If you use it well, you can build a life more fulfilling than the one you left behind. A life with health. With stability. with friendships that matter, with a mission that drives you forward. A life where you are not defined by your losses, but by your growth. The question is not whether you can survive divorce. The question is whether you will seize the opportunity it offers. Because in every ending, there is the seed of a beginning. And this is your beginning. So, tonight, when you turn off the lights, don't replay old arguments in your head. Don't imagine what you could have done differently. Instead, picture the man you are becoming. See yourself strong. See yourself surrounded by people who care. See yourself living with purpose. And believe that it's possible. Because it is. This is your clutch moment. Fourth down. Last drive. The game on the line. And you get to decide how it ends. I know it's not easy. But it's far easier than living the rest of your life in bitterness. It's easier than hiding from the world. It's easier than repeating the same mistakes again and again. Restarting your life after divorce is easier than you think. Because once you take that first step, momentum carries you forward. One brick on top of another. One habit after another. One day at a time. Until one day, you look around and realize you are no longer rebuilding. You are living. So my challenge to you is this. Don't waste this chance. Take the pain and turn it into fuel. Take the silence and turn it into space for growth. Take the freedom and turn it into joy. Because this is not the end. It is your beginning. Your life too. Lean. Stay healthy. Stay strong. And for now, stay single.